My friend came to me yesterday at lunch with screenshots of my boyfriend's Tinder profile. The pictures were all old photos, so I confronted him immediately, expecting to hear something like,
"Yeah."
"I forgot to delete that." Which is cool. He denied being on Tinder at all, and my friend suggested that she make an account, set it to his specifications, and see if he turns up. And there's his profile. So, this means that my boyfriend has been active on Tinder within the past 2 weeks. I confronted him with this, and he changed his story. Now he's saying that his friend has been using his account. He shows me his phone and says, "Look, I have nothing to hide." And of course the app is deleted. So I take his phone, download Tinder, log in with his Facebook, and see that he has been active, albeit infrequently. There was one girl that he tried to meet up with back in May when I was out of town. The girl gave him her phone number, and even though he deleted whatever messages they exchanged, I still saw that he had her saved in his contacts. So that's about everything that I know. He either cheated on me or planned on cheating on me while I went out of town, and I'm sure this isn't the only time it's happened. This relationship is pretty much over. He is swearing up and down that it's not true. He doesn't use Tinder and he doesn't know this girl. I'm going crazy with how much he's outright lying. He seems so sincere, but I know what I saw. I can't listen to him deny this one more time. This blew up while I was away. I'm sorry I won't be able to respond to every comment. So I did some stuff that was kind of petty and stupid today. I made a fake Tinder account, matched with my boyfriend. And he starts messaging me and immediately asks me to meet him for a drink. We agree to meet by a fountain in the center of my town, and I pack up all of his stuff in a tote bag, put on a great outfit, and went to the fountain. I stood kind of out of the way of the fountain in the shadows where I could watch the street that I knew he'd be arriving from. I was devastated, but I figured this way I could catch him without a doubt and end things quickly. All the time, he's messaging this girl on Tinder. But he didn't show up. 2 of his roommates did. We didn't speak, I don't know them well, but they watched me for a while. Figured out what was going on after a few more Tinder messages, and left quickly. So I wait a few minutes and I call my boyfriend and ask him where he's at. He says he's just gotten off of work and he's going to meet his roommate for a drink. I confront him with the fake Tinder profile, and he's dumbstruck and furious with his roommate, who he swears up and down is behind all of this. I'm at home now, just emotionally exhausted and confused. Whatever is going on with his roommates is super sketchy and creepy. Up until this point my boyfriend and I had a great relationship. Really, no red flags anywhere. If I had already been suspicious that he was cheating, this would be a much easier break for me. The most recent message on his Tinder account, when I checked it yesterday, was sent to a girl he had matched with before we met. It said, "Would you want to meet up with my friend?" My boyfriend is the kind of person whose iPhone passcode is 0000. I wouldn't be surprised if his roommates did know all of his passwords. So, his Tinder account is still matched with my fake profile. To me, that indicates that he probably isn't the person operating the Tinder profile. If it were him, wouldn't he have blocked the fake profile immediately? A lot of people have said that he probably sent his roommates to check things out for him. I can't write that off entirely, but my gut says that it isn't true. I just don't think it's very likely. When it comes to his roommates, I'm very concerned that they have been using his profile to trick women into meeting with them. The fact that his profile hasn't been deleted makes me worry that my boyfriend is in on this. So that's about where I'm at right now. I'm worried that all of them are working together to, at best, scam women, at worst, assault them, and my boyfriend is at least passively involved. Either way, I feel some responsibility to do a little more digging. I am a high school math teacher, and we were creating a schedule for next year and divvying up workloads. I noticed I got almost 50% of the test creation and had 2 plannings missing from my schedule next year, for every one for the other 6 women in my department. There are 8 of us. My department head assigned herself nothing as she is managing and needs every prep. But that's another quibble. I am not the newest and in fact have seniority some of these women, but I'm also not the most experienced, so it's not like these are struggling new teachers who need help. So, I asked why it was divided this way. I was told, well, Ms. Millie is pregnant and the rest of us have families. If you have to stay late, it's no big deal. I can go to my principal and deal with it that way. What they've done actually breaks the union contract. But I really was offended by this. I tried to explain my offense, and they literally stared at me gobsmacked. I actually want to know how to discuss this with them. These are all women who I have previously gotten along with and liked. When the last one, Ms. Millie, got pregnant this year, there have been some conflicts. She is in my grade level. And they made me take on some of her work basically because she had some complications. This I did, but I think planning for me to do more is very different than an emergent health issue. As well as some uncomfortable situations for me, having to participate and buy stuff for her baby shower. When I'm not really into those things, but I did so to not cause waves. A lot of people have advised go to the union, go to the principal, and I absolutely will if necessary. I want to be clear, I'm not worried at all that I'll be forced to work this schedule, but these are my colleagues. Many have been working with me 5+ years, and we have lots of meetings and times together, where it's helpful to get along. So I do try to get along, like the baby shower thing, and be a good work friend and colleague. I just want a better way to communicate myself than I had today. I was entirely shocked and very indignant and just found myself unable to express myself well, and I was hoping for ways to approach that someone with their attitude might understand because I can't empathize with it at all. Myself and viewing the other side is how I always try to look at problem solving. I'm 23. I've known I was adopted all along. For whatever reason, I became obsessed with learning more about my birth parents at age 13. I was told all my life that my parents met both of my birth parents before I was officially adopted. My mom was white from South America and my dad was white from Italy. They specified these two locations to explain why I had tan skin. As I was growing up, certain things about my physical makeup made me more curious about my birth parents. My hair was kept short as a kid, but as a teen I wanted to experiment. I grew it out and it grew out curly. Big curls, but still curly. This upset my parents, so they asked that I not grow it out. When I moved away for college, I began to let it grow again. I met my girlfriend in school. She is Black American, so she also helped me care for it. She once braided my hair before I FaceTimed my parents, who lost it on me for wearing it that way. Throughout my time in school, I still searched for my birth mom, but would always come up empty. My girlfriend hinted that there must have been a mistake with the information. Even down to the name my parents claimed I had before they adopted me. She gifted me a DNA kit on my birthday that I didn't get around to until the lockdown hit. I didn't think anything would come of it because my parents weren't American, so I didn't know if it would work that way. So I sent it out of boredom and got my results weeks later, which have changed everything. I'm Black and Middle Eastern. I have light skin and my curl pattern is so loose that I hadn't considered it a sign before. I have ancestral ties to Iran, which can explain a more European facial structure. I'm sorry for my wording, I'm still learning. I sent my GF a screenshot and she called me right away. We were both stunned, though she long suspected. I tried to believe that my parents were innocently misinformed, but my girlfriend kept pointing out the inconsistencies. My parents claimed to have met my birth parents, therefore they couldn't have mistaken them for white. I confronted my parents, who became enraged at me for doing a DNA kit. I was very angry, yelling, swearing. They robbed me of my identity and hindered my search with their lies. My mom told me through tears that my racial background comes with a stigma. That I passed, so she wanted me to have an easier life fitting in. My dad yelled at me that I had to abandon what I just learned. I rage broke my phone and left. My siblings have been hitting me up on social media, reprimanding me for being upset because our parents' reasoning is sound. I do pass. I did have an easy life. I'm not asking to be part of a struggle all of a sudden. I just don't think I should have been lied to, and I think their reasoning is bullshit and racist. I'm just supposed to act like 10 years of me searching with the wrong info isn't that big of a deal? My parents admit that my mom was Black. My oldest sister also recalls seeing my mom at some point. Both verify that she was Black. Yes, they could be lying again. I have plans to continue to look into my background. My girlfriend was very hurt by their statements, so I chose to keep us both away from them. I don't understand how. I'm angry about being lied to and how that lie has made my effort into finding my birth parents completely void, while also rewriting my heritage. That's my girlfriend's stance as well. I'm tan enough that going to an all-white school still got me called slurs. Whatever issues my parents were trying to shield me from it didn't work. Maybe this is a lie that I bought into alone. 2 of my siblings are trying to be supportive. I deactivated my Facebook and unfollowed some people on Instagram. I can't entertain the argument that I should forgive my parents and move on. I'm not there yet. I get that it makes me ungrateful for feeling this way. I don't hate them, I'm just really upset and disappointed in their decisions. I am a 19-year-old female. I have an estranged grandpa more or less. He's my dad's father, but my dad hardly had a relationship with him. I have 2 other siblings, one younger and one older. My grandma divorced my grandpa when my dad was only 10. So he lived with my grandma his whole life in a different state and didn't see him. When he got older he saw him a little more and my grandpa started coming around a little bit more as well. He'd stay for a week at a time and then go home. He was an old, bitter man, to be honest. He never got remarried and lived his whole life in his coastal town with the same friends he'd had his whole life. He wasn't pleasant to be around and could hold grudges longer than anyone I've ever met. But regardless of this, he was filthy rich. He owned a successful business that he sold for $1 million. He retired after selling, but his house sits on an island as well as the biggest piece of land on the island. So it sold for well over $3 million. I was never close with my grandpa, but I took after his sister who is in right now and he adores her. He always told me that he was proud to see me follow in her footsteps. He died a few months ago. Since then, my family has been torn apart. He left everything to me. He essentially liquidated all of his assets and it ended up being close to $8 million. I was shocked. I didn't and still don't know what to do with the money, but I'm going to save it. My dad and stepmom as well as my siblings are hounding me to split the money with them. I just can't do it. My dad is an alcoholic who never said anything nice about his dad. Despite him being bitter, my grandpa actually bought my dad a $300,000 house. My dad would 100% drink away any money given to him. As far as my siblings, my brother has full financial support from my grandma as he is the favorite and he's very wasteful and ungrateful. He never talks to me and always is very mean to me when he does. My little sister is the only person I've actually considered. She's very young and that's really the only thing stopping me. Her mom is money-oriented and would take the money from her. So I'm waiting until she turns 18 and I offered to pay for her college. But now my family is telling me I'm unfair and the money doesn't belong to me and I'm not deserving of it. That I'm too young and I'll waste it on cars and clothes. I don't agree and now they're all threatening to cut me off and never speak to me. Or even sue me if I don't give them all a chunk of the money. I don't know what to do and I'm buckling under pressure here. I've already had 2 police officers out to my house because my dad is claiming I stole the money from him. Everything was through an attorney. I know I did nothing wrong legally. But morally,